Culture and tourism officials here recently hosted a program that invited 49 fans of all things Korean to the country for a first-hand experience of the local culture. On Issues and Insiders today, we speak with one of these fans. Welcome to yet another edition of Issues and Insiders. I'm Min Sunhee. Today, I have the pleasure of speaking with a senior fan of Korean culture who also runs a YouTube channel to share his enthusiasm for K-dramas and K-music. I have Zev Rattet here in the studio. Zev, it's a pleasure to have you with us.
It's a real pleasure for me.
Right, Zev, let's begin then with details about your trip here to South Korea, which I understand is your first trip.
It is my first trip, and it's incredibly exciting to me.
So what brought you here?
What brought me here was Koreainbaityu. And I have to say, I know that there were 77,000 invitees and for 185 countries, and there was only so many selected. But the truth was, I just got on my YouTube channel, I got a message from Korean tourism organization asking if they were to send me to Korea for an event in May, would I be willing to go? And they said, can you give us your contact information? So I gave them my contact information, and I had no idea what they were talking about, but boy, the idea of coming to Korea was really exciting. You know, I've been following Korean dramas and Korean culture since 2017. I'd only been running my channel for a couple of weeks, and I got this request. I didn't even know if it was real. Okay, so I said yes, and we then engaged in a series of conversations about it, and I kept telling them this was fine, that was fine, dates were fine, and I still didn't know what the event was. Okay, it was only a couple of weeks before I came that I finally said, could you tell me, give me more details about what I'm doing, why am I going? And then I found out it was Koreainbaityu, and I had no idea how big it was and what was going on. I was stunned. It was like, oh my gosh, this is real. I mean, I'm real.
You're one out of 77,000 people who applied, and you're one out of 49 to be invited.
Correct, and I didn't apply. I mean, I just was invited, and I was amazed, and I couldn't believe I'm going to Korea. I think I didn't really believe it until they sent me my plane ticket and realized I'm going to Korea.
And this is because you have a YouTube channel that
Right.
you began earlier this year, I believe.
I started my YouTube channel on February 1st.
After watching over 250 Korean dramas, am I right?
That's my estimate. It could be more. It's got to be more because my wife and I have watched 110 together. And I always watch them before I show them to her. And I know that my wife doesn't like certain genres, so I've watched at least twice as many, probably 3 times as many dramas as I've shown my wife.
And this all started in the year 2017.
That's correct.
Right now, upon arriving here in South Korea with the program Koreainbaityu by culture and tourism officials here in the country, you arrived at 4:30 in the morning, Zev, and
Yes.
then you told a local media that you were unwilling to miss a minute of experiencing the culture here, so you refused to rest in your room and you came out to
Absolutely.
start it. Could you tell us a bit about the programs within the Koreainbaityu campaign initiative?
Well, when we arrived, they were doing a bus tour around the city. Okay, so they told me it was a bus tour around the city, and I just thought to myself, you know, they keep thinking I'm old. They keep calling me an elderly, you know, and I've never thought of myself as elderly, and I'm certainly not going to miss something because somebody thinks I'm old. I'm in really great health. I'm in good condition. There was no way I was going to go to my room and go to sleep when we're doing something. In the process, I had the opportunity to meet some wonderful people from all around the world. I have to say, one of the best parts of this whole thing were all the people I met who also are enthusiastic about Korea. That was really great. If you're asking about what the places that I really enjoyed going, well, the top of it is, you know, Gyeongbokgung. You know, I watched so many dramas, you know, and I've seen the palaces, and I've really wanted to come and see them in person. And I love Korean architecture. I love traditional Korean architecture. And they put me in a hanbok, and it never occurred to me I'd be wearing a hanbok around it. At first I thought that would be kind of silly to walk around in a hanbok, but no, it was great. It was great. And everybody, I couldn't believe how many people were in hanboks all around me. And I have to tell you that I think there are very few traditional costumes that look more beautiful on a woman than a hanbok. I think it's beautiful, it's feminine, I think it's dazzlingly beautiful. Now, it may have been affected by watching Kim Tae-ri in her hanbok.
And this is in the drama Mr. Sunshine.
In the drama Mr. Sunshine.
Which was your first drama.
Which was my first drama.
Right. Zev, if you were asked to make a few suggestions to make this program, the Koreainbaityu program, even better, what would you suggest?
You know, that'd be really, really difficult because, in fact, there's so much to see in Korea that they broke us into groups, and certain groups went to certain places, and they did ask us in advance the kinds of things we're interested in looking at or seeing. And I don't know how they could have done a better job of selecting. Somebody's got to make the selection. So maybe K-pop dancing really wasn't my thing, but it was still fun to be there. Okay.
You went for K-pop dancing?
Oh yeah, you can see me doing I wasn't very good at it. I'm terrible at it, trust me. totally uncoordinated. But sure, that was part of the program. But you know, you have to select, and I think that they did a good job of selecting. And I have to say that the staff involved in Koreainbaityu they were wonderful, just wonderful. They were kind, they were friendly, they were helpful, they were just great. These are the kind of people I would just sit and have a drink with in a bar, all of them. They're wonderful people, including the group I was in. But the people who actually ran the program, fabulous.
Zev, your YouTube channel, it's called Zev Does Kdrama.
Yes.
It started in February this year, and you share reviews about Korean entertainment, including its dramas and music. Now, before we touch upon the music part, could you tell us a bit more about the dramas that you choose to introduce on your YouTube channel?
Okay. The way I choose my dramas for the YouTube, first of all, I have put up a list of my 10 favorite Korean dramas, and it's very hard to select 10 because I love probably 100 of them I really love, okay? So, but in fact, when I tried to create 10, I couldn't reduce it beyond 17. I realized the day after I made it that we really couldn't reduce it beyond 18 because there are so many good ones. But I tend to like dramas that, I like dramas with romance in them. I like dramas that, when I finish watching a drama, I want to feel good about life. And there are so many Korean dramas that are like this. But the ones I choose for to present, I try to find a song, and the OSTs on Korean dramas are extraordinary. I think they're the best of any dramas anywhere, the music there. And what I look for is a song that I really love from a drama that I really loved, and I look for a music video which is scenes from the drama where I can listen to the music with it and react to it with my audience, because maybe if they see those beautiful scenes, they listen to that beautiful song, a drama they never thought they'd want to go check out, they will. And I do get people come back and say, I never thought of watching that drama, but I did watch it. What's your next recommendation? So it does affect people. I hope so.
Zev, what ultimately led to your decision to venture onto social media platform to share your interest in Korean entertainment with
I have a very close friend, and I'll even name his name, Bobby Sandler,
Okay.
who came one day and said, you know, you've been talking about this so much and for so long, you should have a YouTube channel. I said, oh, yeah, sure. I didn't know if I'd ever do anything about it, but I figured, okay, maybe I will someday.
So we have Mr. Bobby Sandler to thank
Bobby
for this.
Sandler, yes.
Nice.
And he came over one day in the middle of nowhere, took out his phone, and started interviewing me about Korean dramas, about Hallyu, all kind. You'll see some of these where I say why I like Hallyu. I show people all the Hallyu's pictures in my house, and there are a lot of them. Okay, and he did this quizzing, and he said, okay, now you got enough material. So I did. I broke it to pieces, and I began the channel. And 3 weeks later, Hallyu found me.
Right.
But it came out of nowhere. If he hadn't come over and pushed this on me,
Right.
I didn't really know what to do. I got a webcam, an inexpensive webcam, got an inexpensive headset. At first, I didn't even have a headset. I just had the microphone I used when I programmed.
Right.
Okay, and started that way.
And Zev, before we go to talking about Hallyu, I just want to ask you, you spoke with the local media here and you claimed that you found expression in Korean dramas and their point of view on life rather refreshing. Do you care to explain?
Yes. I personally I believe that the Western world has been overcome with cynicism. Everything's questioned. There's no acts of kindness. There's nothing anybody does except for their own self-interest. They do it for money and sex. I mean, it's always their own self-interest. I think it's very cynical. And one thing I found in Korean dramas is, all the ones I watch, and there's vast numbers of them, there's a fundamental belief in the goodness of people. People do act on kindness and goodness. It's not cynical. It's the least cynical thing I can watch as a Korean drama. And that's really very important to me.
And staying with that, Zev, in recent years, K-entertainment has been garnering quite a bit of global interest. How do you explain that?
I think I'm not alone. I think people are tired of negative views of the world. I think people are tired of identity politics. I think people just want to have a good story that when they're finished, you feel good about life. I know there's love. Okay, I know that there's hope in this world, and I know there are good people, and I think you get that from Korean dramas. You get a lot of that in Korean dramas, and I find that very refreshing. There is a trend with more recent Korean dramas that try to cater to a Western audience that I think have gone the other way, but by and large, in the bulk of the dramas that are really wonderful are the most numerous.
Right.
And there's so many. I've watched almost 300, as you know.
Right, as you said earlier. Zev, moving from K-dramas now to K-music, as you mentioned, you spoke about IU earlier on. You've been extended a personal invite by IU herself to her concert to take place in the US. Do fill us in on the details that led to that invitation from IU.
Okay. Well, as I said, I started my YouTube channel on February 1st. And about 3 weeks in, IU had... she released the first official music video from her new concert tour, from her new album. Okay, it was Shopper. And I decided for the first official release, I would make a special program. Not that my programs are special, really, but I put on my tuxedo vest, which is a yellow tuxedo vest I bought for my daughter's wedding. Okay, I have a pin from Hotel de Luna that I wore on it. I wore my red bow tie and a tuxedo shirt, and I celebrated the release of her first album. Her first song from her new album. And I went to sleep that night with my usual, 20 subscribers. I mean, nobody's watching my channel. And, I don't know, a few thousand views. I'm sure they're all people who are my friends. I wake up the next morning, I go down to my computer, and suddenly I look to see how many views I've got. And it's like, I've got like 200,000 views, and I've got thousands of subscribers. I'm like, what is going on? And all these comments are saying, she invited you, go to Instagram, she's invited you. And I go to somebody provides a link, I go to Instagram, and there she is with this picture of me in my outfit, okay, saying, you've made me very happy, okay? Let me make you very happy. I'd like you to invite you to my concert. My staff will get in touch with you. And if you look at my site, that morning when all that happened, first thing I did was 6 in the morning, or even before, I called my friend Bobby, and he runs over with Bobby Sandler, and he runs over with his camera, okay, and he starts filming my reaction, okay, and my wife wakes up from all the noise, and she comes down, and she looks over, oh, what's going on? And she says, he's been invited to the concert, and she goes, that's fake, and then Bobby says, no, it's not fake, it's real, and she looks at me, she goes, you're not that great, you know.
But you are going to the concert.
But I am going to the concert. It was real, okay?
Right.
But I was gasping for breath, excited. And quite frankly, every time I think about it, I'm still like, kind of pinch myself. Hard to believe any of this is happening. It's hard to believe.
It must seem surreal.
I live a very quiet life as a programmer. I used to anyway.
Right. Zev, what do you suppose are perhaps IU's merits as a musician and of course also as an actress?
Well, I think she's one of a kind when it comes to music. I think she's a brilliant writer. She writes beautiful lyrics. She composes beautiful music. She has the most wonderful voice I've ever heard. I think that's fantastic. As an actress, she's one of the best actresses I've seen. I was totally mesmerized. I discovered her because of her acting. You know, I saw her in Hotel de Luna. I was totally mesmerized by her. Okay, and from Hotel de Luna, I decided I wanted to see more things she did. At that time, I didn't know she was a singer. Okay, and from
you thought she was just an actress.
I thought she was an actress, and so I started looking at other things. I saw her in Dream High, and even though there's a little singing there, it's like a story about a singing school. So I didn't take anything of it. And then I saw her in You're the Best, Min Sunhee, and then she got to episode 35, and she sang Forgotten Season, and I went, oh my God.
Is that when you realized she was a singer?
I went, oh my God, she must be a singer because this is unbelievable. It was so beautiful. And then I started going on YouTube and looking for her, and I discovered she's not just a singer, she's one of the greatest, most famous singers in Korea. And from that point on, I was addicted to her music. But you know, beyond her skills as an actress and as a singer, she's just a wonderful person. And somebody who gets that successful is rarely somebody who can remain that humble and that decent to people. I'm impressed the way she treats the people who work for her. I'm impressed with her contributions to charity. I'm impressed by her background story and how hard she's worked, how she worked her way through difficulty, how she was able to go through 20 failures, you know, and never gave up. I grew up really respecting people who work hard. Right. And I've said this a few times, IU embodies all the qualities that I respect most in people. And I've said before, I'm 76, she's 31, but I, in many ways, look up to IU. I think she's a model of what we all could be as people if we work hard. And I mean, not everybody's that talent, but you can be that kind of person, okay? But I think if she wasn't such a magnificent human being, I'd appreciate her talent, but I wouldn't be as completely involved with her as I am.
Right, and this is something that many of her fans think of as well.
And they're right.
Right,
We're
they
right.
are.
I'm a Yuena now, you know.
Right, that's why you call yourself Grandpa Yuena.
I called myself Grandpa, and that came out of my first videos. I was showing Bobby my pictures of IU, which are all over the place downstairs, and I got to the landing. I have a 3-floor house, and so I got to the landing coming up to the first floor, because I was from the 0th floor, and I said, okay, well, this is it. With no pictures upstairs, and my wife says, no pictures of IU above this floor. And I said, okay, and then I said, well, I think it's because my wife's afraid that I'm going to run away with IU.
No.
And I said, and I turned to the camera, obviously being funny, said, IU, I'm sorry. I'm happily married, and you will always just be a granddaughter to me.
Right.
And when I called her a granddaughter in that video, people started calling me Grandpa.
And that's why you call Grandpa Yuena
So I'm
now,
Grandpa
right?
Yuena because the Yuena family, which stands for You Love Me, the Yuena, which is the fan club, I did officially join it, but right away, the responses I'm getting to my channel are so kind, affectionate, loving, and I know it's the Yuena community mostly, and I feel I want to be part of the community, and I feel adopted,
right.
and I actually officially joined the 7th generation Yuena.
Good for you. And speaking as Grandpa Yuena, Zev, you are an active senior member of Hallyu, if I may say so myself. What is your secret to perhaps staying healthy and very positive? Well,
I've always been the kind of person who, I don't know, I tend to look at the positive things in life. I'm the kind of person who doesn't look and say, gee, if only I'd done something differently. No. One of the lessons I had early in life was listening to my family, my older members of the family say to themselves, oh, if only I'd done this or only done that. And I go, I will never in my life ever look back and say, if only I'd done this. I make the best decision I know how to make now, and I can only move forward. I've always said, I can't change the past, I can only change the future. And I always made the best decisions I knew how. And maybe they didn't always work out, but I have no regrets. I've always done what I wanted to do. I've always believed I could do anything. I mean, I have a career that went from being a newspaper reporter to a social worker to an instructional designer to the president of a software company to a VP in a hardware company. At 40 years old, I decided that the programmers that worked for me had the best job ever. So I bought a 600-page book on programming in C, taught myself, and started programming at 40. And I programmed until I retired at 31, out of my home where I could be there when my son grew up.
That is a remarkable story, Zev, your story itself.
Yeah. And I do have really good genes. My family is very healthy. The average age of people to pass in my family is in the mid-90s, and I've had a few that passed 100. So I think I have good, strong genes.
Right, a very healthy, a very positive psychological mindset, and of course, great genes, like you said. Zev, what are some of your plans for the rest of this year?
For the rest of this year, well, as soon as I get back, I go back on my channel work, which I love. And then I will, there's a concert in July. I can't wait for them to get back to me.
IU's concert.
I want them to get back to me soon and say, you know, here's where your tickets are, et cetera, but I have to be patient. Then my wife, who's French, and I met her in France, her mother's turning 90 in September, so we're going to go to France in September. And while we're in France, I've never been to Northern Europe, so we'll do a little trip up to either Denmark or Norway, maybe both. Then, of course, the next big plan is coming to Korea. My wife and I are planning a nice long trip to Korea in the spring. I want to be here for the cherry blossoms.
So you'll be here in spring then?
Yeah, I'm coming back.
You're coming back to Korea?
And my wife would like to go to Seoul, Busan, and Jeju.
Spring of next year, of course,
yeah,
right?
spring 2025. Finally getting to do what we planned since the pandemic hit. Because we've been planning it since the pandemic. And so we keep getting delayed. But finally, nothing can get in our way. We're definitely coming. And I want to get as long a trip as I'd like to spend a month in Korea if I can. So I have enough time to be places.
And in the meantime, we'll get to see you on your YouTube channel.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Because that's a pleasure. I do that for love, really.
Right. Thank you, though. Right. So I believe that's all the time we have for this edition. Thank you so much for making the time to be here live.
Well, thank you so much for inviting me. This is a wonderful new experience for me. Everything since the day this began has been a wonderful new experience, and thank you very much.
Right, and Mr. Bob Sandler, if you're watching us, thank you for getting Zev to start YouTube. All right, Zev, thank you so much. Right, well, that ends this edition of Issues and Insiders. Thank you for watching. Have a great weekend.